I think it's always been a calling for me ever since I first saw poverty in Latin America when I came down to Mexico at the age of 9 or 10 on a family vacation, and my parents rented a car and we went out of Cancun and saw kids living in basically the same conditions as a lot of the kids in the program live in, and it just hit me hard, and I realized it was my calling in life. And I think from the position into which I was born, being an American, having access to higher education myself, I see it as my calling to help channel some of the wealth from the States to the people who need it most down here south of the border. The kids in the program are all children who are in a street situation, meaning that they either work, live, or are forced to be in the streets to accompany the parents who work in the streets, but they're there out of need, and they spend at least 4 to 5 hours a day in the streets, therefore putting them at risk of falling victims to drug addiction, child prostitution, abandoning school, any of the risks that you find in street life. Typical family life is they live in the most marginalized neighborhoods of the city, in what would be considered shanty towns. In general, we're looking at multiple extended families living under one roof, so anywhere from, I'd say, 8 to 15 on average people per home. The majority of the families that CODENI works with are indigenous families. Most of them are Otomís. They come from the states of Querétaro and Puebla. And they've come here to Guadalajara, as is the case with most large cities in Mexico. They've migrated with hopes of a better life for their children. They're in Querétaro and Puebla, they're impoverished farmers. There's not local schools, especially beyond elementary school. And the living conditions are extreme rural poverty. So here in the city, at least their children have access to education. So they end up in the cities, and the majority of them sell potato chips.
Yo vendo papas. Y ahorita las ventas están...
I sell chips, and right now sales are really bad, and I do not want my children to live through the same things that I am experiencing.
Mis hijos sean alguien que tengan un trabajo, que no...
I want my children to be people that have jobs that are not like mine, so that more than anything else, they aren't ignorant.
Estamos haciendo todo lo posible para que...
My husband and I are doing everything possible so that our children advance. Our children go to school, and we don't allow them to miss school.
No los dejo que falten, porque yo en verdad, como yo no tuve estudio,
Honestly, I didn't study because I began to work when I was very young.
Cuando estaba más chiquita, vendía chicles.
When I was very young, I sold things like gum. But now, for example, that I am 7 years old, I've started selling candy with my mom.
Bueno, para mí, como le digo, cuando ella
Well, for me, when my daughter was very young,
me hace cuenta que pues como muchos no
I realized that she needed her mother to help her with her homework.
Y yo en ese momento pues sí estaba.
In that moment, I was...
Ay, no, perdón. Pero yo me sentía...
Sorry, I felt like I was useless.
Que un inútil. Como que yo no...
Like I wasn't anybody, and I told my daughter, who needed me to help her with her homework,
me necesita para ayudarle en la tarea.
that I didn't know how.
Y entonces, y ya, pues ahorita ya estoy viendo...
And so right now, I am seeing that my daughter is learning a lot from Danielle.
La verdad sí, le digo, es como un ángel.
So that I can say that she really is like an angel that was sent from heaven for people like us.
Todas mis
Like everyone in my family that has not been educated.
Tuvimos estudio.
On Mondays and Thursdays, the kids meet up with us, a team of 3 educators. On average, we have 75 kids. They'll spend 40 minutes in the library working with me and other volunteers who will, depending on their situation, either help them with their homework, work on basic literacy with them.
Fíjense lo que vamos a hacer.
Outside of the library, in the entrance area, is an area that we call workshops, and it's kind of an arts and crafts areas, but at least twice a month, the art or craft is dedicated to a specific right of children. So each month we'll have a specific right that we'll work on. Outside is the area of recreation with Jorge, the other educator. There, the kids will jump rope, play hopscotch, play soccer. If this generation doesn't have to work in the streets and isn't forced to have their own children in the streets, the problem will start to end. For the kids that I help, my long-term hope is that they will make the most of their lives, whether that they'll go one step further than they would have gone without CODENI, no? And for each kid it's different. There's some that I see and I really hope and I really believe that they'll go on to study university. There's other kids that I really hope that they'll learn how to read and write, and if they accomplish that, that's going to be a major leap for them.
Me gusta porque pues nos están dando un gran
I like it because it's really supporting us, and we really need it.
y
There's nothing that I don't like about it.